In 2013, when Breaking Bad had its finale, we were left with two big questions. Where is Jesse Pinkman going, and is Walter White really dead? The writers, actors, and fans of the show have always joked about Walter's fate, because of how unlikely it actually is that he survived. The ending of Breaking Bad was a perfect ending. Breaking Bad was the story of Walter White, and we saw the ending to his story. Jesse Pinkman's story was left open-ended, and for years we have been left wondering and guessing what would happen to him. On October 11th, El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, will close his story. We will finally see what happened to Jesse Pinkman, but that leaves us with the other question. Is Walter White really dead? Now, this is probably the most contentious question you could ask a big-time Breaking Bad fan who loved the ending. There were actually quite a few people who didn't even want El Camino to happen, because they hold the ending to Breaking Bad so sacredly, they think to add any more to this ending, it would ruin it. Well, it's important to know that El Camino isn't going to change anything. It's just a supplement to Breaking Bad. It's not going to replace anything. It's going to answer the two main questions. We're going to find out where Jesse went. I'm going to find out the real confirmation of whether Walter White is really dead or not. But I wanted to make a whole video about this because I think it's such a big subject. There's a lot to cover if you're even going to ask that question. But the way this question should be asked isn't actually, is Walter White still alive or is he really dead? The real question is, will they bring him back? Vince Gilligan knew he had plans for what would happen after Jesse escaped in the finale. He even floated a few ideas in interviews, saying that, yeah, the police would be after him. However, the more optimistic view is that he escaped to Alaska. He gave us two ideas, but I can tell you for a fact, El Camino hasn't always been a plan of his. For quite a few years, he really thought the ending to Breaking Bad was just it. It's only when he found the right offer by Netflix that he would really do this. It's likely he would have been quite happy to just leave it at that. And as far as we know in the finale, yes, Walter White did die. The script actually says Walter White collapses and he lays on the floor lifeless. Now you can interpret that into any way you want, but as far as we know, he did die. He was shot exactly where his lung cancer is. That's quite a poetic place to be shot, and I think that's why it was done. But I think there's another reason he was shot here. Because he could survive it. If you think about the line of fire of the machine gun that he used, it was at the exact height to get to the chest and it would be a guaranteed kill. Even the people in that room who were sitting down, they all got hit. Walter was not hit with the full power of the gun because the bullet that hit him was a rebound shot. He still got penetrated by a bullet, but it's not guaranteed to be fatal. So yeah, someone could survive that bullet, but that's not the reason for Walt's supposed death. Walter was bleeding out, and at the end we actually see how much he's really bled, and it's a lot, and he of course would die from that. Science says he is dead, but this is all done for the possibility that he could be brought back. Now let's talk about the services who were on the scene of his death. We see 3 cops go over to Walt. It's likely the police are there because Walt called them beforehand so they'd find him, or they're there because of the gunshots. It's likely that they know who he is. Of course, Heisenberg has been on the TV. In the teaser for El Camino, we saw Skinny Pete said it's been on the news. The strangest thing here is, why don't they run over to him? Why don't they try to revive him? Well, here's where this theory gets really unlikely. One of the officers go to test Walter's pulse. After testing it, the officer goes back and does not try to revive him. Now, I think most of us saw this when we first saw the finale, but I think Vince Gilligan put this in there to almost confirm to us watching that, yeah, he's dead. Nothing is shouting on the screen to us that he's definitely dead. However, it should be something that we just all know whilst watching it. Nothing has to tell us that he's dead, because it's something we know, but we don't really want to know. Especially with the release of El Camino being so close now. We're really just asking that question, how can Jesse's story possibly go on without Walter White? Well, until we get a full trailer, it's really hard to say whether Walter White is alive or not. If they want to bring him back, they 100% can. However, as far as we know now, he is dead. But I still believe Walter White will be in El Camino. Jesse Pinkman was locked up in a cage and forced to cook meth with all the guilt about Andrea and of course everything that he's done for a whole year. He was tortured not just physically but mentally. If he hasn't got PTSD, he 100% has a lot of trauma. He had probably been dreaming of killing Todd like that for all that time he was in that cage. And he was just manically laughing when he escaped in the finale as well. He was just so happy to get out of there. I think throughout El Camino, he's going to be having visions of Walter White. The reason he's even locked up is because of Walter. The reason he's lost everything is because of Walter. And he was heavily manipulated and ruined by Walter. So I think Bryan Cranston's still going to be in this movie. Before this movie was actually called El Camino, it was called Greenbrier. That was almost the secret code name for this project they were working on. They didn't even tell us what it was about, but we knew it was about Jesse. And that name has always made sense to me, especially looking at the promo poster for El Camino. There's a great meaning behind it. We see Jesse in his El Camino car that he escaped the finale and driving away with the Breaking Bad smoke behind him. Greenbrier, of course, is otherwise known as a smilax. It's a green plant that's used to treat cancer. And so this movie will really be about Jesse escaping his past life, leaving all the crimes and everything he's done with Walter White behind and just becoming free of it. Now, the characters of Breaking Bad always have a fitting end, and it's always the most realistic version of that. I do think Jesse will be caught, and I think it's going to be because of his El Camino car that he gets caught. That's why the title of this movie is El Camino, because it's the car he's going to get caught in. He's most likely on the hook for Hank and Steve Gomez's murder. The police, of course, will know Jack and his crew's cooperation in that, but to the DEA, to the police, to Marie, and to every single person that has met Jesse, we know he didn't do it, but it just makes so much sense to these characters. He was last seen with Hank and Steve Gomez, and as we know from Skinny Pete, he's all over the news, and it's really likely he will be caught. But I know what you're thinking, how can El Camino just end like that? After all these years of hoping the best for Jesse, assuming the best for him, what's the real purpose and point of this movie if he just gets the worst ending he could possibly get? Well, that is just the most likely outcome to this. The police and most people, because of the news, know that Jesse was held captive, but they do think he killed Hank and Steve Gomez. There is no one to speak for Jesse to tell them where he was, so there's very little that can be done to get him off the hook now. I've seen some people bring up the video that he did confessing to Hank and Steve Gomez about what he did. That's proof there that he was working with them. But as soon as Jack saw that Jesse said something about Todd on that video, it's likely they destroyed it as soon as they heard that. So I don't think that tape's going to do anything for him now. All Jesse needs is someone to come out and have proof, almost an alibi, to tell the DEA, to tell the police that Jesse did not do it. Now, who else knows that it wasn't Jesse? All of Jack's crew are dead. Walter White is assumed dead, so who else knows? Saul Goodman does. Now, at the time of El Camino, he would have been in Nebraska by now. Of course, being the manager of the Cinnabon. But every time we see him, he's more and more paranoid and found out by the public. But there's one scene that tells us he kind of just wants to go back to his old life. There's a scene where he sees a kid that has stolen some CDs. The kid hides and Saul sees it, and when the police ask him where he went, Saul at first tells the police where he hid. And that's the Saul Goodman coming out of him being a bit weaker. But when they take the kid, he jumps up out of his seat and becomes Jimmy again. He almost orders him to get a lawyer. Now, all this time that Jimmy has had in Nebraska, having this mediocre life, he's almost realizing that there's no point to hiding now. If he sees Jesse has been wrongfully arrested on the news, I do think he's going to turn himself in. He's the only one remaining that knows it wasn't Jesse. And so Jesse would be freed and Saul would take his place. Now, all of this changes if Walter White is still alive. If Walter's alive, he can tell the story himself. The police have him. He's already taken the blame of most of it, so could he lift the crime off of Jesse? I think it's completely possible. But more importantly, what do you think? On the top right of your screen, you're going to see an eye icon. Just click or tap on that and you can vote in the poll. Do you think Walter White is still alive, or do you think he's going to have an appearance in El Camino? Make sure to let me know. And of course, don't just vote in the poll, make sure to comment down below what you think. I genuinely want to hear what you have to say. It's going to be really difficult to tell, but once we get this trailer, we're going to have so many answers already. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to press the like button. It actually genuinely helps this video get seen and supports me. And if you did enjoy it, make sure to check out my other most recent videos. If you want to see my full video talking about how Better Call Saul and then how it will connect to El Camino, then make sure to watch that video. We go in a lot more depth of how this could work. And make sure to go and watch my official trailer breakdown for the El Camino teaser trailer we got. There's a lot of hidden stuff in there, some things you may have missed, and it gives us a lot more answers about what's going to happen in this movie. So make sure you go and check it out. And of course, make sure to subscribe so that you are the first to hear about El Camino. We should get a full trailer very soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.